What is good, YouTube? This is Osiris, the PC Pimp, and I think I'm just going to ramble a little bit today about a couple things, including Windows, Linux, and gaming in general, and what they mean to me, really. So, in the background, you'll be seeing some Borderlands 2 and a quick little mission, or me just kind of messing around. But anyhow, let's start with how I feel about Windows as a Linux user. I really don't care if you use Windows or Linux or which operating system. If you use OS X, that's your personal business, really. Like, I don't understand the fanboy wars and the rage against other people if they use particularly brand A over brand B. None of that really matters to me. At the end of the day, it's your choice, it's your money, it's your life, and I don't care. Of course, we all have reasons why we use what we use. And it's not up to me or anybody to tell you what you should use. Now, I wholeheartedly agree that people should be informing other people about options and choices. There should always be you should always have an option and a choice to do something. Whenever you don't have an option and a choice to do something, you severely limit what you can do or what you potentially can do. So, of course, there should be information given about your options. But me personally, I don't really care. I'm not anti-Windows, I should say. I don't have a disdain or a hate or any of that for Windows. Matter of fact, my whole professional career or whatever, all my jobs have been all Windows-based jobs in IT positions mostly. And I have no problems with that. Most of the user base, from consumer to the desktop users and businesses, are all Windows desktops. And more than likely, anytime you network those users in a business environment, you're going to be using Windows Server, an Active Directory. So that's good for what that is. And there's just a lot of reasons why people can't or won't switch. I don't have a problem with that either. It's whatever you want to do. If that's what you're happy with doing, that's what you're happy with doing. Now, why do I like Linux if I don't care if Windows is good or bad? It's more of a social or philosophical reason, I guess you could say. I like Linux because of the options. I like Linux because of the freedom. And I like Linux because of the free. I would argue that Linux can do everything that Windows can do, but for free. Now, I would compare Linux and Windows as you going to buy a nice classic hot rod or you building a nice classic hot rod. At the end of the day, you're going to have a nice classic hot rod. You're going to achieve your goal of having a hot rod. So how you go about getting that hot rod is really up to you. Now, some people may prefer to pay for their hot rod. Just outright pay for it, not bother with it, and just enjoy it. I mean, that's pretty much what Windows is. You pay for it, not bother with it, and just enjoy it. But some people may prefer to build it because they want something to be a certain way. They want it to be, and they want to build it this way, or they want the color this way, or they might want the wheel offset to be this way, or they might want the whole stance to be this way, so they put certain types of wheels and tires on it, or they might want matching interior exterior or polar opposite interior exterior. So they do everything completely custom. And to me, that's what Linux equates to, doing things custom. It's a fully customizable operating system environment, from the kernel to the user space, up to the desktop and all that. So it all boils down to what do you want to do and what are you willing to put into it. And for me, though, I'm willing to put the extra effort in to get it for free and to have the freedom, to have the transparency, which I hold in pretty high regard, and to be able to at the end of the day, change anything and everything I feel like changing. But I feel like I should have still the same outcome as if I was using the alternative. So, like I said, I use Linux for my reasons, and you should use Linux or Windows for your reasons. But it's all good, especially in today's day and age, where most of the desktop environments and the Linux ecosystem is pretty mature, and I can't not recommend it to anybody now. There used to be some pretty show-stopping problems 5 years ago or so, and those problems are pretty much weeded out. Any normal, everyday desktop user, what we usually refer to as the mom and pops users, the ones that get on the internet, surf the internet, and they're not doing too much else, checking email, Facebooking. Yeah, of course, Linux suits that just fine. You got the exact same Firefox and Chrome web browsers as you do in Windows, and it doesn't really matter. Not only that, if you're the guy in the house who has to actually upkeep these computers, then you don't have to worry about mom and pop or little sister and brother downloading God knows what. Like, who knows what kind of weird malware or stuff they find on the internet. I'm always surprised to see what's on people's computers when they tell me it's not running anymore. It's ridiculous. But you don't have to worry about that so much if you just slap Linux on it, because they won't be able to. They can download them, but they can't run none of that stuff. So that's a thing. But you start getting to a more complicated territory when you start talking about gaming, because gaming requires much more of the operating system, I guess you could say, and much more of your hardware, and things need to be right. So for me, like right now, currently, I don't have Windows on my computer at all. I often dual boot, but at the moment I don't have Windows on my computer, and I don't miss it either. And I would consider myself a gamer over a Linux advocate. So I have to have my games before I have my Linux. that's just my priorities. That's how it boils down to me. I gotta have games first. Period. End of story. And there's no more discussion. But now I feel comfortable, and I've been using Linux since about 1999, 2000. Started off with I think Red Hat 6 or something like that, and moved over to Mandrake, and then moved over to Ubuntu like 5 or 6, I can't remember. So I've been in and out and in and out of the Linux operating system for a number of years. So I've seen it go through its growth, its downfalls, its growth, its downfalls, and its growth again. But yeah, so anyhow, about the games. I feel very comfortable now of playing and staying in Linux for my gaming needs. Now there's a couple games that I kind of miss. I mean, first and foremost, you're not going to get anything like Battlefield 4 yet, if that's your thing. But Battlefield 4 is really not my thing. Matter of fact, I don't like Battlefield 4. I love the way the game looks and plays. It looks fine. Like it's probably one of still the best looking games out there. But I hate that it just crashes randomly. It's hard to get into the games and stuff like that. So that's not my thing. But BioShock Infinite is a must play. Like if I hadn't already beat it, I would have to play it. So I would need Windows for that. And I have no like personal problems with booting in the Windows. Like I said, I'm not an anti-Windows. If I had to boot in the Windows to get some BioShock Infinite, then that's what would happen. If you have not played BioShock Infinite, you're doing yourself a disservice. I'm just tell you that now. But anyhow, what else is there? There's a couple games I can't really think of right at the top of my head, but yeah, games like that I have to play. But those games are dwindling in a number of games that I find myself playing on Linux that are taking up the majority of my time now, like Wasteland 2, Civilization 5, Counter-Strike, Go, and those type of things. and the number keeps growing. You got Borderlands, the pre-sequel, it just came out recently. You've got Civilization Beyond Earth that's coming out not too long distant future. And in a more distant future, you have games like Project Cars and what's the space game I can't think of right now. I'm sure to come to me or somebody will remind me what that space game is. But yeah, you got great games coming. It's becoming a thing. The only thing I would like to see now that we're getting these games on Linux is the hardware support. Many of the hardware, gaming hardware, doesn't work quite right. Like, it works fundamentally right, but it doesn't work in the extended fashion, meaning like the macro keys don't work, or the profile settings don't work, or like if you have a mice with 9 buttons, maybe some of the buttons may not work. I'd just like to see some of that cleaned up. And I mean, it's a thing. It's already there. And I'm very happy that Valve brought gaming to Linux, because there should be freedom and choices in that whole ecosystem. Gamers shouldn't be tied down to anything. It shouldn't be tied down to Microsoft atmosphere or environment, licensing, or any of that. If you want to create your game on say an iPhone or I guess the PC or whatever, you should be able to do that and then not have to port it to also. I mean, that's getting to some more other stuff. But anyways, this is running a little bit long. Just a little ramble, a little rant about Windows, Linux, and gaming, I guess. So hopefully you enjoyed the video of the Borderlands 2 in the background. And you got, as usual, you got them buttons down below. There's a thumbs up and there's a thumbs down and there's a subscribe button. There's stuff to keep you occupied for the next 10 seconds. And as always, this is Osiris, and I'm out.